Hello and welcome to the Unit 2 review worksheet. We're going to start by doing the first problem. It says, what type of transformation took place in each step? If we take and look at the first one, this is the original problem. So identifying the original problem as 7 times the quantity y minus 5 equals 4y plus 12 plus y, the first thing that I would do is I would do the distributive property. And so the first step is the distributive property. So that took us from the original here down to this one. Now we want to say, what did they do to get from this step to this step? And it looks like they combined like terms. They took the 4y and added it to the y to get 5y. So step 2 is combine like terms. Step 3 is from this step to this step. So what did they do to go from this step to this step? It looks like they subtracted 5y from both sides. So that would be my third step. Then I got to look in this step right here and say, how did they get from here to here? And it looks like they added 35 to both sides. They were one step away, and I'm asking, how did they go from here to the finished answer? And to isolate y by itself, they would divide by 2. So our final step is divided by 2. Number 2 says, in the transformations in words, name the transformation in words that would solve the given equation. Well, in the first one, what they need to do there to isolate x is they need to minus 7. So my answer for number 2 is minus 7. Number 3, what they needed to do there is, instead of timesing by a negative 11, they need to divide by a negative 11. On the fourth one, it's saying x divided by 8, so I'm going to do the inverse of dividing by 8, which is multiply by 8. Number 5, same thing. How do I get x by itself? Instead of minus 3, I'm going to add 3. Now on to number 6, we have to actually solve it. So on the first one, we said we would minus 7 from both sides. That would give me x is equal to 12. 19 take away 7 is 12. On number 2, we would divide by a negative 11 on both sides. That's going to give me negative 2 is equal to x, or x is equal to negative 2. On number 8, I said instead of dividing by 8, we would multiply both sides by 8. And any number divided by 8 then times 8 is just your original number. That's how we would get x. And a negative 5 times 8 would be negative 40. And then finally number 20, instead of minus 3, we would add 3 to both sides. That would give me 23 is equal to x, or x is equal to 23. Now numbers 10 through 13, actually all of these, we just have to solve the equation. So on number 10, I would minus 8 from both sides. That would give me 9 is equal to w, or w is equal to 9. On number 11, instead of timesing by a negative 9, I'm going to divide by a negative 9. That over there cancels, leaving you with just h. 27 divided by a negative 9, well, positive divided by a negative is a negative. And 27 divided by 9 is 3. So h is equal to negative 3. On number 12, it's saying w divided by 5. So I'm going to do the opposite of that, or the inverse. I'm going to multiply by 5. This is going to cancel, leaving me with w is equal to 15. Number 13. This one is a two-step equation. So I'm going to start by any parentheses, no. Then I'm going to go through the order of operations backwards. So any addition or subtraction, yes. So I'm going to get rid of minus 9 by adding 9. I'm going to do that to both sides. I get 1/3 y is equal to 10. And then to get the 1/3 separated from the variable, I'm going to times by the reciprocal, which is 3/1. This all cancels, leaving you with y equals 10 times 3 is 30/1, or just 30. Number 14, this is where we start. You can identify, if you look at this problem, that you have a variable here and a variable here. They're on the same side, so we can just combine them. So 2x minus 4x would be a negative 2x. We still have our plus 5 equals 25. Now we're at a two-step equation. Any addition or subtraction? Yes, I'm going to minus 5 from both sides. That's going to give me a negative 2x is equal to 20. Then I'm going to divide by a negative 2. That's going to give me x equals negative 10. On number 15, the first thing that I would like to do is the distributive property. So I have 6r minus 11 equals, I'm going to distribute this. So I'm going to say 3 times 2r, well that's 6r, and 3 times the negative 1, well that would be minus 3. Then I also have a minus 5. Looking on the left side, there's nothing that I can combine. Looking on the right side, I've got a negative 3 minus 5 more. So I would rewrite this as 6r minus 11 equals 6r minus a negative 3 minus 5 more would be negative 8. Then I'm going to minus 6r from both sides. And what happens here is we eliminate the variable, and I end up with a negative 11 is equal to negative 8, which doesn't make any sense at all. So we know this is an example of no solution. Number 16, 9k plus 4 equals 5k. Well, on this one here, I'm going to start by minusing 5k from both sides. That's going to give me 4k plus 4 is equal to, well those cancel, that gives me just 0. Then I'm going to minus 4 from both sides. I get 4k is equal to negative 4. I would divide by 4 to isolate the variable completely. That's going to give me k is equal to negative 1. On number 17, my first thought is that I can see that I have a variable on either side of the equation. So I'm going to start by minusing 13p. Minus 13p. We get rid of those. You get 3 equals 6. This is another one that doesn't make any sense at all. This is a no solution. Which brings us to number 18. And on 18, I can simplify. On the left-hand side, I've got a negative 6y and a positive 4y as terms. 4y minus 6y is a negative 2y. I still have my plus 9 equals 17. Now, I'm going to do my order of operations backwards. I'm going to get rid of that plus 9 by minusing 9 from both sides. That's going to give me negative 2y. 9 minus 9 is 0. And 17 minus 9 is 8. Then I'm going to divide by a negative 2 on both sides. I would get y equals negative 4. For numbers 19, 20, and 21, it's asking us to solve each equation, show all work, and if it's a fraction, reduce it to lowest terms. On the first one, I'm going to start by distributing. 5 times w is 5w. 5 times a negative 2 is negative 10 equals 8 minus 14w. Okay, now I'm going to start by noticing that I've got a variable on both sides of the equal sign. So I'm going to add 14w to both sides. That's going to give me 19w, when I add those two together, minus 10 equals 8. Now I'm going to add 10 to both sides. That's going to give me 19W is equal to 18. Then I'm going to divide by 19 to isolate my variable. That gives me W is equal to 18/19, which cannot simplify. On number 20, I'm going to look again and I can see that I have a variable on both sides. So I'm going to take care of that first. And on this one I'm going to minus 3p from both sides. So that's going to give me negative 10 equals 9 plus 3p. 6 minus 3 is 3. Then I'm going to start by minusing 9 from both sides. That gives me a negative 19 is equal to 3p. Then the last thing I'm going to do is divide by 3. I get p is equal to negative 19/3. Now we can change this into a mixed number. How many times does 3 go into 19? Well, it goes in 6 times with 1 left over. So a negative 6 1/3. Number 21, we only have one variable here. So I'm going to start by adding or subtracting. So I'm going to add 11 to both sides. That gives me 13d is equal to 1. Then to get d by itself, I'm going to divide by 13. d is equal to 1/13. Number 21, it says a CD club offers a special at the holidays. You can either buy CDs for $11 each or become a member of their holiday CD club for $53 and pay only $8.50 for each CD. How many CDs would you have to purchase in order to make the price of being a member a better deal for you? So what I'm going to do is set up equations and set them equal to each other. So you can either buy CDs for $11 each. So I would start out with 11x. That's going to represent the CDs before the holiday deal. And I'm going to set that equal to, well, they have $8.50 per CD, so that's a good deal. But you have to pay a one-time membership fee of $53. Okay? Then I'm going to solve for x. Oops, 850x, excuse me. Then I'm going to solve for x. So I'm going to minus 850 from both sides. And 11 take away 850 is 250. So I have 250x is equal to 53. Then I'm going to divide by 2.5 on both sides. And I'm going to use my calculator here. And I get 21.2, which tells me that if you buy 21 CDs, it's not a better deal. But after 21 CDs, it is a better deal. How many CDs would you have to purchase in order to make the price of being a member a better deal for you? Well, you can't buy 21.2, so you'd have to buy 22 CDs in order for it to be a better deal for you. Number 22, it says the sum of a number is 57. The second number is 7 more than the first number, and the third number is 3 times the first number. Find all 3 numbers. So I'm going to start by setting this up. I'm going to use a couple different colors. The first one says the sum of 3 numbers is 57. So I know in the end it's all going to have to equal 57. It says the second number is 7 more than the first number. So I'm going to call the first number x. Okay? The second number, which has got to be 7 more than that, I'm going to say is x plus 7. And then the third number it says is 3 times the first number. So I'm going to call that 3x. So I have my first number here. I have my second number, which they said is 7 more than the first number. And then I have my third number, which they say is 3 times the first number. And it all has to equal to 57. So now what I do is I combine like terms. So I have x plus x, that's 2x, plus 3x, that's 5x. So I get 5x plus 7, that's the only thing I can't combine, equals 57. Now I'm going to solve for x. So I'm going to minus 7 from both sides. That gives me 5x is equal to 50. Divide both sides by 5. I get x is equal to 10. Now that doesn't answer the question. The question is to find all three numbers. Well, if I go back up here and I say x is 10, the first number has got to be 10. The second number, which is in my parentheses here, is going to be 10 plus 7. That's 17. And my third number, which is right here, is 3 times x, in this case 3 times 10, which is 30. So here are my three numbers. And that's it for the review. Good luck.